The millionaire laughed loudly, the kind of laugh that filled the marble hall and bounced off crystal chandeliers, a laugh polished by decades of winning and watching others lose. Cameras were rolling, lights were blinding, and the crowd behind the velvet ropes leaned forward, hungry for entertainment. This was supposed to be another easy viral moment for Victor Harland, the tech tycoon known for turning human struggles into spectacles. He held up an old, yellowed paper between two fingers, as if it were contaminated. "I'll give you $1 million, he announced confidently, his voice smooth and arrogant, if you can translate this." The crowd murmured. Some laughed. Some shook their heads. The paper looked ancient, filled with strange symbols, uneven ink, and lines that twisted like snakes. This was no ordinary language. Victor had already embarrassed professors, scholars, and self-proclaimed geniuses with it. Every single one had failed. And now, standing before him, was a thin boy in worn shoes, his shirt ironed but faded, his eyes calm in a way that didn't match his age. The boy couldn't have been more than 15. People whispered. "Is this a joke? He doesn't even look educated. This is cruel." Victor smirked. He loved this part. "What's your name, kid?" he asked. "Ayan," the boy replied softly. His accent was hard to place. Victor raised an eyebrow. "And you think you can translate this?" Ayan nodded slowly. Not confidently. Not nervously. Just calmly. That alone irritated Victor. "You know," Victor said, leaning closer, lowering his voice for dramatic effect, "grown men with PhDs failed this. Linguistics experts. Historians. You still want to try?" Ayan looked at the paper, then back at Victor. "Yes," he said. The laugh exploded again, louder than before. The crowd joined in. This was going exactly how Victor wanted. Another poor kid chasing a dream he couldn't reach. Another reminder of who held power. The camera zoomed in on Ayan's face, hoping to capture fear, sweat, humiliation. But they found none. As the paper was placed on the table in front of him, Ayan's fingers trembled just slightly, not from fear, but from memory. The symbols on the page weren't unfamiliar. They were ghosts. They were nights without sleep. They were voices of people long gone. He had seen this script before, not in books, but in whispers, in fragments, in stories told by a grandmother who believed words were alive. As Ayan began to read silently, Victor leaned back, already planning the punchline he'd deliver when the boy failed. But something unexpected happened. Seconds passed. Then a minute. Ayan didn't panic. He didn't ask questions. His lips moved slightly, forming sounds no microphone could catch. The crowd grew quieter. Victor's smile tightened. "Time's ticking, kid," he mocked. Ayan looked up. "May I speak it aloud?" he asked. Victor waved his hand dismissively. "Go ahead. Entertain us." And then Ayan spoke. The first language rolled off his tongue like music, ancient, soft, almost prayer-like. Some in the crowd felt chills without knowing why. Then he paused, shifted, and continued, in another language. Then another. Each transition was smooth, effortless. The murmurs turned into stunned silence. A woman in the audience gasped. A man dropped his phone. Victor straightened in his chair. "What language is that?" someone whispered. Ayan continued. 9 languages in total. Each one a layer. Each one unlocking a deeper meaning of the text. When he finished, the hall was silent in a way Victor had never experienced. Ayan looked at Victor. "Would you like the translation now?" Victor swallowed. "Yes," he said, his voice lower. Ayan took a breath. "This document is a covenant," he began. "Written first in Old Syriac, then layered with Classical Arabic, Sanskrit, Latin, Old Persian, Ancient Greek, Hebrew, Guizi, and early Mandarin annotations. Gasps echoed. Victor's hands clenched. It tells the story of a forgotten alliance between scholars who believed that knowledge should never belong to the rich alone. It warns that those who use wisdom to humiliate others will one day be judged not by their wealth, but by their humanity. The words hung in the air like a verdict. Ayan wasn't done. The final line, he said, looking directly at Victor, was written as a test. It says, "The one who laughs at ignorance has already failed." The cameras caught everything. Victor's face had changed. The laughter was gone. For the first time in his life, he didn't know what to say. The crowd erupted, not with laughter, but applause. Thunderous. Uncontrollable. People stood. Some cried. Victor tried to recover. That was impressive, he stammered. But how do we know you didn't memorize this? Ayan met his gaze. Because I can tell you who wrote it, he said. And why? Victor waved his hand sharply. Enough. This is ridiculous. But doubt had already crept in. The audience could feel it. The boy wasn't performing. He was revealing something deeper, something Victor had spent his entire life avoiding. As security shifted nervously, Ayan spoke one final sentence, quietly, almost kindly. You offered me $1 million, he said. But this paper was never about money. Victor stared at him, trapped between pride and fear. And somewhere in the crowd, a child watching this moment felt something ignite, hope. Because this wasn't just a challenge anymore. It was a reminder that brilliance doesn't always wear expensive suits, that knowledge can grow in silence, and that sometimes the quietest voice carries the loudest truth. As the cameras continued to roll, viewers around the world leaned closer to their screens, realizing they were witnessing something rare. And if this story has reached you, if moments like this inspire you, remind you that greatness can come from anywhere, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because stories like Ayan's don't just entertain, they change the way we see the world. And this was only the beginning. The silence that followed felt heavier than the applause that came before it.